I'm really excited about them. So, yeah.
Cool. You have your first opportunity to really root for them as they will be finding themselves in our first match of the day. They have to go up against Twisted Minds. Let's dig into this, what I believe is the quarterfinal
Quarterfinal bracket.
Sure,
right.
let me just use some words. There we go. Twisted Minds going up against AOMA. Twisted Minds roster, of course, they played a much slower style than most teams thus far in the groups and as well as here, of course, in the main event versus ENCE yesterday. Was that yesterday or the day before? I can't remember. But they did not look so good, even though they managed to play on their comfort kicks.
No, I mean, in the end, ENCE is just such a stronger team on their comfort. I feel like they allowed ENCE to stay well within their wheelhouse. And ENCE was a much stronger team. I don't know if that means Twisted Minds is necessarily weak or that maybe ENCE is top dog. So this is the time for Twisted Minds to show that they are a serious contender, that maybe that was an anomaly. But I think they did show a bit of weakness, as good, though, as players like Quartz and Vigilante were.
Now, a one-man army, I mean, this has pretty much been the top Dragon show in most of those games, Johnny, but the new addition in the backline also making some waves.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Top Dragon so far, but one player that really impressed me in group play was also Donghun. Top Dragon is going to be a pivotal player in this match because of the echo play that he's providing in this roster. You can see the Mei as well was lights out against a team like, oh yeah, have a Mei one trick on their team. Was a big difference maker here on Shambali Monastery. But then also being able to flex over to the likes of Tracer, for example, really good player for this team, and is going to be the star player of this team. But like I said, Donghun as well, I think been really solid in this backline as well. So I just wanted to take a bit of a moment here and focus on a clip that I found from the group stage that really just highlights Donghun and his fantastic brig play, actually. So I'm going to head over to the Telestrator, and I'm going to show you how they actually clutched it out here against GG Peps. Now, let's start out with some bloodthirsty support. Throwback to Doa's good old segment from like 2019. So this is a lost fight here, and you can see Top Dragon and Theomatic, they're already dead, so we find ourselves in a 3 versus 5, or 3 versus 4 situation rather. And of course you have no front line. So this is a lost fight. Big cleanup for GG Peps here. We can go ahead and play this one out, Jake. Let me know how you feel about this, Jake. We've got Donghun here on the brig. We're running away for a little bit. And all of nowhere comes FD God. Oh no, oh no, okay, you get a pick onto FD God. Donghun, he's not settled with that. He'll get a pick onto Yoham as well. He just killed the backline in a lost fight. Top Dragon and Theomatic are on their way. You can see in the kill feed, Donghun dying here. So now you have a 2 versus 5 or 2 versus 3 situation here. There's no backliners on the side of GG Peps. And Theomatic's like, okay, I'll just go in here. Now, crucially, in this moment as well, good presence of mind from Top Dragon. He's actually going to duplicate the Diva here, and we can go ahead and slow this one out. Slow this one, pause if we can. This is really important because this changes the whole 2 versus 3 dynamic, because Nico has a pulse bomb as well, but obviously you don't want to utilize that pulse bomb when we got the duplicated defense matrix here. So really good play here by Top Dragon, gives Theomatic some additional point pressure. We can play this one out. They're going to flip the point, and so because Donghun got those 2 picks, that actually secured the point here. Now, great individual play. That doesn't really happen every day. So I want to take a look at a real fight coming straight after this as well. And we can showcase, again, Donghun's great individual skills. So we're going to flip over to a different clip here. They're taking the point. We'll go ahead and pause here. I just want to set up this fight real quick. So in this fight, it's going to be pivotal. Wow, we got a big old brig here. But we got 2 great, thank you. Good catch there. We got 2 great ultimates here. We got Theomatic's Primal Rage, which in this scenario, we're not really focused on diving with this Primal Rage, because actually we just want to set up Avo, and Avo as well has a great bob. This is going to be great because you can kind of send this bob in here, contest the point, and essentially what you're doing is you're buying more time for your Ashe and for Top Dragon as well on the Echo to find picks. So you're not necessarily diving, you're playing slow, you're sitting back and trying to stall out this fight. We got a Nano as well, which in this scenario, if we're trying to utilize the Nano, again, we're not really diving here. You could use it on Theomatic and get in if we see an opportunity, but it'll be great here to peel off what we're gonna see here from GG Peps. They got a Diva and a Tracer, of course. They got a Nano themselves. They have a lot of ultimates in this fight, so they can't go aggressive. But we're gonna use the Nano to peel, and then Donghun is coming up on this rally, and we'll see how this one plays out. So crucially, we're going to play this one out. Now, remember how I talked about, Winston Primal Rage and Bob? We can go ahead and pause this right here as well. Actually, first, we're going to see him shield bash backwards. And as you saw, the Nano came in onto Tread here, but he doesn't go for the D.Va itself. Actually, he bashes back to his Ana to create like an additional body in between the Nano D.Va and the Ana, protecting his Ana in this situation. It actually leads to Alpha surviving this fight for quite some time. So we can go ahead and resume this one, and we're going to see that the Bob comes out, and we're going to see that Theomatic goes down as well. Now, Top Dragon goes down to this D.Va. That's all right. We can go ahead and pause here. So we can go skip a few frames. I want to see the Bob. I want to see the Bob on the point here. And we'll actually see that in this scenario, he's going to go for the Tracer here. Sorry, I really messed this up. But he's going to peel the Tracer here. We can see a nice Whiplash here from the Brig as well. You're going to play this one out, play it out, hit the Whiplash, peeling this Tracer. I mean, this is huge plays here coming out. So now you've lost your front line. The Bob has been used. And now, in this moment, we can go ahead and pause this. So Theomatic is dead. Theomatic is in spawn, okay? You've used the Bob as well. So you can't really like touch on the point here. So it comes to Dongun here. Now, okay, you have some support. You're alone in the front line here. And you're facing an Ana and a Tracer. This is a really scary scenario for your Brig here, because if you get bionated here, I mean, you'll just go down. You'll go down real quick. Now, Dongun knows this, and as you can see, there's a little bit of shield here left, just a tiny little bit. So what GG Peps want to do here is they actually want Nico to kill this shield to guarantee that the Biotic Grenade hits onto Donghun, and then you can run down Donghun. But Donghun, we can go ahead and slow motion this. We'll see that he actually manages his shield, trying to time this Biotic Grenade. And you'll see he's managing the shield. Here comes the Biotic. Get the shield up, blocks it, and actually manages to stay alive. Yes, GG Peps, you have point control right here, but because they don't have the Biotic Grenade anymore, now Theomatic is back in the fight. And actually, this is going to be a nice field hold here from the side of AOMA, of course, because Dongun did a great job in this fight, peeling for his Ana, whiplashing the Tracer, and then holding the front line down as well. Doesn't go down in that fight. So I think Dongun has been really impressive on this Brig so far. And again, 2 good fights from him here that helped him set up a bit of a reverse sweep on Flashpoint, down 0-2 against GG Peps.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of threats on that team, so Twisted Minds, I hope they did their homework. If we're looking at our threats for this one, listen, I tried to support Twisted Minds again yesterday. They failed me once more. I just feel like I've seen so much more depth from a one-man army. Twisted Minds look more one-dimensional. I have a lot of faith in the dive we're seeing from a one-man army, and Twisted Minds have not really shown me much in that regard. So, had to go with this one. Actually make it not even a close one. 3-1 is my bet.
Wow. So I also went for a one-man army. I thought this was going to be like an odd man out, Pred, because I think Twisted Minds is probably the favorite to win. I think just the raw strength, the team has more high-level experience. But I do think Donghun on Brig is actually really high-impact character. This meta, I think against TVNT, playing mostly off tanks, the D.Va and the Sigma can both be vulnerable to some Brig pushes. So we'll see. I think this is going to be a close one, though. I got a 3-2 here.
I just predicted AOMA because I put my cookie in the orange juice.
Sometimes life is just that simple.
That was the rules of the game. I had to support AOMA for the rest of the tournament.
Is that why you made it a close score? So you can be like, oh, well, it was the
what do you really feel?
How do you feel, actually? Yeah.
I feel like Twisted Minds, probably the better team. I like their D.Va looks, you know, sometimes even slowing down with the Sigma. I think that Theomatic on the Winston could have something to say in this matchup, and Top Dragon is an amazing player. I would probably say Twisted Minds is the favorite team, but I put my cookie in the orange juice.
Well, you did put the cookie in the orange juice. Mitch, Matt, where would you have put your cookie? Why does that sound like such a loaded question? Also, good morning.
Where would I put my cookie? In the milk?
I'll let Mitch take this one.
You dolts.
Yeah.
Where else would I put the bloody cookie? Would you fancy some cookie and mustard with your breakfast, Matthew?
I like mustard. I just don't know if I'd really put it. I don't really know if it's like a cookie condiment.
Cookie.
I don't really like milk either, though.
You bathe in the stuff. What are you talking about? Your mum still runs that for you.
Just raw cookie. Raw cookie, I think, is fine. Well, not like raw cookie dough. Just you know, the natural cookie.
There's nothing natural about those cookies. I got bad news for you, brother.
They're probably organic. Cookies.
Free-range organic cookies.
They're grass-fed cookies.
We should probably discuss that, which we're sort of being employed to talk about. The whole desk had a one-man army winning this. I don't normally defer to you on picks because, frankly, I don't care about your opinion. But today, Today, I think, is a different day. I'm feeling generous.
I think it's a little wild, but you know, I think Twisted Minds obviously had a bad performance against Ints. I think we might be you know, overcorrecting in the other direction a little bit far, right? In the fact that we're all going to go for a one-man army, but obviously the upset potential is there. I think you really want to see Twisted Minds get off to a good start, right? I think the mental kind of carrying over from yesterday's like a little bit of a boomage against Ints could definitely happen if they start off slow.
Also, Ints is a quality team as well. And Twisted Minds up until this point had a flawless group stage. You know, looked pretty clean on their games up to that Ints matchup. So I don't know what cup was in the Twisted Minds. I know it was in the Twisted Minds Cup, but I probably would have put my cookie there. That's not a euphemism. I do think they are. I
do love Johnny doing like a 45-minute telestration and then making a prediction based off of his cookie.
I mean, yesterday it was a prediction based off of his concern about getting roasted in the post-match interview. So, you know, whatever it takes, fam. Either way, we have Top Dragon, of course, in that Farah here playing outside the dojo a little further. TVNT gets a little bit more than they bargained for and won't get away with mech intact. Twisted Minds losing out in the poke game here again. That threat of the Pharaoh and that constant damage coming down has been an issue.
Yeah, Top Dragon's done a great job just kind of like avoiding Quartz. Quartz, one of like the better hit scan players that we have in the world, right? And just kind of able to dodge that. Is TVNT going to go back, get a mech, but that's going to have the Amatic just dive on in, take out two players. I think got Twisted Minds off guard a little bit. So one-man army getting off to a good start.
No Brigitte here for Twisted Minds. They have an Ana Lucio backline, so just see how that plays out here. But it does mean, of course, that Theomatic, while he has to contest with the Sleep Dart and Bionade combination, doesn't have to worry about any displacement via whip shot or something similar. And Avo has a lot of room to breathe here. Theomatic's created a huge zone, such that Alpha is like the third line. No pressure really on the Ana, the new Oni skin perspective from the Battle Pass. Get yours now, folks. Selling out. It's going to be an Anabuso over here to Quartz. He needs to get across the bridge. Doesn't get conked off, so now can start to pressure that backline a little more. At least force Alpha off a sight line that would have let them heal Theo back up.
Yeah, Twisted Minds kind of like slowly, you know, takes control over that bridge area, pushes a one-man army back, and then that's when they can kind of take control over this point. So they do end up needing to use the nano on the Quartz, right, to get him over the bridge, and then also sort of that extra damage to kind of push back a one-man army. But a one-man army, they come in here, Mitch, you know, they'll have the nano Winston capabilities, or even like a nano onto the Farah. They could be able to flip this rather quickly.
Back to the bridge we go. There's Theomatic getting a nano boost instantly in Quartz. Where's the backup for them? Bliss at least gets in the way. I'm going to force Theomatic back for a time, but Yubi gets sniped out there by Top Dragon. A lot of damage already done by Theomatic. It's about the point, though, here in a few moments. Bob being down on the field makes it a little bit tricky for one-man army to push into this in this fashion. Sound barrier is something that only Twisted Minds have access to in this matchup. He's got to make good use of it, though. Top Dragon's barrage here might have caused issues, and Theo got slept, and Vigi is able to at least get across the divide. Bliss here has to amp that healing quickly now to keep that Ana alive, and it just came a little too late. Theomatic swings for the fence.
He got across the divide because he got primaled across the divide. He just gets like, you know, swung on and sent to the other side. So you see the sound barrier there for Bliss. I believe it only connects with you know, himself and two other players, so 3-person sound barrier. It's so much easier for Donghun to get great use of the rally, right? I know everybody kind of stacked up on the point, just kind of consistently rolling where rally kind of pays off as a one-man army will take the lead.
Good looks here so far for a one-man army. Top Dragon continue to be an issue and so far not really shut down. Eventually though, Theomatic is removed. A little overextended, and look at the position of Alpha. It was very hard for that one-man army backline to keep the Winston topped.
Yeah, I think it was just like line of sight from the healers. Like, you know, the Ana Brig just kind of pushed back towards that bridge, and the Far just putting down damage over there, so couldn't really exactly push up. And Theomatic just gets kind of chunked down on the point, so didn't have any, you know, line of sight of the Winston, and then you end up you know, having them just die rather quickly.
You'd be on the Farah here, bear in mind. Normally a roll assumed by Lapta, but that would require substitution. Here's another rotation of that nano boost to the Winston for a one-man army. Theomatic here more than happy just to contest the point right now, because Twisted Minds are at risk of running away with it. TVNT, okay, spots the Brig. Can't quite knock Donghun off the map here, but everyone else looking to pile in on them. Somehow the Brig's still standing. TVNT backs out a little too low here, but TM still have the point. Theo has to jump over there now, which means he can't easily peel for someone like Donghun should there be another dive on the Brig. TVNT looks like he was considering it there, but Top Dragon gets caught by Quartz's Bob on the point, and Twisted Minds now have full coverage. Avo has to walk across no man's land while Quartz is looking straight at him in the sound barrier. Purely insult to injury here. Bob was able to contest for a time, but that time has expired.
Yeah, TVNT kind of knocks the Bob off of the point there, but Quartz kind of going crazy there towards the end. 3 or 4 kills in that final fight. Now the Bob gets to the point, takes out Top Dragon, who's trying to contest it on the Pharah. Theomatic not there on the Winston, so pretty strong performance there from Twisted Minds, making the adjustments necessary to take it.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow start, but the Pharah for Yubi eventually had to have some impact, really. Again, we harped on it a little bit, breaking up the ability for Alpha to easily heal Theomatic. I was talking about just how much space they had at the start of the round, even if they were playing on the bridge. Eventually, they really had to give a little bit of that ground up as Twisted Minds got their DPS line in position.
With TM, they're probably going to get a UB out here on the sim and then a swap. Yeah, so we're going to have the Pharah matchup yet again. So the only difference is keeping in that Lucio instead of the Brig. I think we've kind of talked a lot about these different types of compositions, right, with the support line specifically. The Brig, I think, provides a little bit of a extra point staying power, just kind of like holding down positions. The Lucio does provide a little bit of extra damage, right? At range specifically. We talked about how strong Lucio is, and that's Donglin just kind of walking around the corner.
Vigilante has hit multiple really impactful bio-nades already in this round, Matt. First, it caught onto Avo, and the second one, 2 players from a one-man army were impacted. And then it looks like Donglin was just caught a little bit out towards the open. Quartz really dominating that center quadrangle.
Yeah, and then we saw there for a second that UV just kind of like pre-fire, knew that Top Dragon was trying to make it back to the spawn, so he couldn't get high up and made his shots pretty easy there for Quartz. Top Dragon will play the Echo here, so going to play the Echo to kind of counter maybe this far on the other side.
Great bio again.
Big bio grenade yet again. Yeah.
That's the Vigilante difference, folks. Look at that percentage in ultimate charge between him and Alpha. Already has that nano available. Top Dragon with a switch over to Echo in the previous fight now. Maybe hoping to be able to blow UB up a little bit easy, but getting to the Pharah in the first place, even as Echo, not such a simple matter. Vigilante has this nano lined up. And it's going to go over towards UB here. No barrage available for the Pharah. I want you to bear that in mind. This is just raw damage that UB's been sent out to do, and Focusing Beam is going to account for him. At least TVNT can create a trade, but that was a nano boost invested by TM.
Yeah, and TVNT was like 99 to a new mech, with a self-destruct and ends up falling right before he's got an opportunity to do it. But it's a huge Bob, actually. Theomatic gets all to the point. In before that, Quartz is able to take out Donghun. So in a situation where a one-man army looked like they potentially could flip it, Twisted Minds, specifically Quartz, goes huge there, allows everybody to get back to the fight.
Bob was inside the bubble.
And that's going to extend the amount on the point. Yeah.
So I don't think that Theo actually accounted for. Still, they've got other business to attend to now, and that is trying to wrangle the rest of Twisted Minds, but they are awful slippery. Hard to catch, and Theo instead opts for the space created by the raw threat generator by Nano Winston. Here's Yubi though, dropped in for a huge barrage. Takes care of Alpha. The Nano Boost already got delivered there, but lacking the Ana in this fight is going to hurt. Dongun's had to go for the rally here. And TVNT backs up. He knows the Brig is on the point here, but they need to deal with this primaling Winston before they regroup. Twisted Minds now can turn their attention back to the objective.
Yeah, I think they're just maybe even waiting here for the sound barrier here from Bliss, right? Just gets it now as TVNT moves into the back of the point. They deal with that Brig is really nice use here of the defense matrix, just trying to keep that on alive. And there's that sound barrier.
Top Dragon's in trouble. TVNT's able to shut down the dupe. Well, that's an Ana pretty well unattended here. Have able to jump away at least. And one-man army are now just coming in tatters here, eventually being broken down by Twisted Minds over these 2 rounds of control. And that's Lee Zhang Tao wrapped up. Twisted Minds take the first map of the series.
Yeah, I mean, round 1 was pretty close, but round 2, not much at all, as Twisted Minds, they kind of bounced back off of that brutal loss yesterday from ENCE with a good start here against one-man army.
I think we've seen across a few of our teams, right, actually, having an Ana player that is able to be proactive with these biotic grenades, take the risk, of course, and not having it available in the case of a Winston dive, but use it to set up situations where the enemy team's got to give up a lot of ground. If you're one of your DPS, your Ashe especially is hit with a bio, like we saw right at the start of Night Market, she cannot peek into the middle part of the map. That allows your Ashe to take a more aggressive slant and actually start to force the other team away. We'll talk a little bit about Garden first, though, because it was quiet to start with for Twisted Minds. But again, you see, once they control that bridge access for a one-man army, it's really hard for Theo to like get consistent healing.
Yeah, and you saw some really good switches there from Twisted Minds, right? Specifically, UB making adjustments, going over to the far right, putting constant pressure onto that bridge, not allowing those supports to kind of get across that gap. But it's really, I mean, Court's just a difference maker on the hit scan, pretty consistently for this team.
Absolutely. And again, has been in so many crucial games. UB obviously on the fire for much of this map, and yeah, you know, Top Dragon at some point switches off to the Echo and says, I don't really fancy this matchup anymore. A couple nice barrages rather from UBs. He drops in behind. At least is able to turn them into single kill situations. And the Echo doesn't really seem to move the needle a whole lot here, as that's the switch that a one-man army went with at the end of Night Market.
Yeah, the Echo, can kind of like duel the Pharah a little bit, more, but it did not really make much of an impact there towards the end. Probably just a little late to really kind of get a read if it would have made an impact. So now a one-man army, they get their map selection here. If you want to play like that, I mean, you could play King's Row, right? If you want to play like some Pharah, right? I think you could play Blizzard World as well, another option. Really, all the hybrid maps pretty decent, for that Pharah Ashe setup, if that's what they want to continue to roll with.
We actually saw TVNT play a lot of Sigma, right? Where Twisted Minds are actually preferring to go to Circuit Royal when they could. And that was a pretty back and forth map. I mean, you are, dealing with someone like Kai on the Widowmaker, so there's a huge level of volatility with Quartz versus Kai. And there were some cases where Twisted Minds looked pretty good in that Sigma shell. Both teams had the Pharah setups here. We did see Lapta brought in for that game, but a lot of it centered on just which Widow was able to feel more confident and also have a little bit more room to breathe. And as that map continued, we started to see Twisted Minds run out of the momentum they'd built on the first half. But Lee Jung-Tao was very much the opposite. Twisted Minds had to fight from behind in that first round, and it looked pretty oppressive for them. They bounced back beautifully.
If this match was like yesterday, right? After Twisted Minds gets just destroyed by ENCE, I think it could actually have been way closer, right? I know one where you definitely could fire, maybe even favorite one-man army is they picked Dorado. I think having that extra day though to kind of like take a little bit of a breather and reset there for Twisted Minds, I think that's huge, right? Not kind of have to play right after a brutal loss, I think is a pretty nice advantage for them.
Dorado here. Again, we've sort of seen how this map has played out, and it's honestly played out the same way for quite some time now. Even, teams like SSG, who have a decent sort of Winston setup, struggled on this map yesterday. They really struggled to contend with like a strong Widowmaker presence, plus like good dive rotations from that Hypnos team. So, you could suggest that something that a one-man army have available to them if we want to see that Widow. It's the more aggressive, I think, sort of take on that comp that often features simply Ashe, but some teams are forced into it when they do see a Widow on the other side.
Yes, I expect Quartz to play the Widow here. I mean, a fantastic hit scan player, right? No reason for them not to put him on that role, where I think could definitely give a one-man army some troubles. As Theomatic and Top Dragon, though, they kind of come out on this like Winston Echo look, can definitely get to the high ground and put some pressure on pretty fast. I think that'll be where having the break here for Bliss will pay off, as Vigilante showing off his moves
the
there
sleep
in
dart
spawn.
lineup, very based. Yeah.
Yep. Big
Not sure when that one's
lineup.
gonna come back down.
I gotta say, we keep coming to camera. I mean, that shirt you got on today is phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
That is looking. I mean, that has got to be
best part
least,
is like,
$1,000.
the best part I know
shirt.
is that you're being sincere, man. So it really warms the cockles of my heart when I get a fashion compliment from Mr. Morello himself.
Yep. It warms your heart to the point that you consider going to the doctor. It's never been this warm.
Just like the reflux I get when I have to have a conversation with you, buddy. But again, it's nice to have a fellow, a fashion aficionado, the real NASA hat expert, weigh in on my outfit.
You missed me and Jake had a long conversation
I heard about space.
the moon and the distance. Yeah, we're experts.
Top Dragon couldn't get the altitude he was looking for, though. Didn't quite get that space. It was Vigilante bringing him down, and Quartz punishes Donghun. So this is what we were saying, like a really strong Widowmaker player in this composition can make it even worse. But TMR actually, playing with the D.Va variant of this defensive dive. Curious to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of like control that high ground with the D.Va relatively easily. Like even the Widow kind of going for shots here. On the Quartz kind of eating that up with the defense matrix is Avo. I mean, just not many angles to choose from as a Quartz finds another.
Bit of a tickle there on Quartz. Theomatic doesn't quite find the mark, but does at least force the Widow off the line for the time being, but it's short-lived. Soon enough, Twisted Minds are back here amongst this defensive setup. As a dive from Theo as he just wants to take that low ground for now. TVNT not really giving much attention. Avo's trying to make the switch to Widow, but Quartz. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one to beat in this role. Top Dragon attempts a sticky bomb dive. Quartz able to shrug most of it off, but Bliss was picked off in the meantime. TVNT was not able to intervene.
Yeah, getting the kill on Bliss is pretty huge, right? Just a huge line of defense. That is just, I mean, that is point blank. The gun directly to the side of the head, flying through the air. Getting the Brig is pretty big because that's like a big line of defense here. It'll be a Primal Rage from Theomatic trying to take out Quartz. But look at this pocket. I mean, just being kept alive here by the support so well here for
Vigilante also. Oh, what the heck is going on?
I mean, bruh.
Quartz is under so much pressure and he's able to manufacture kills like that. That is absolutely brutal. One-man army cannot catch a break. They're throwing everything at the Widowmaker. Quartz is able to shrug it off and then pay it back with interest.
Yeah, I mean, Quartz making this map selection by the one-man army look pretty silly at the moment, right? With how good he's played on the Widowmakers. Just trying to maybe find an angle here coming up soon here. Is Quartz trying to predict that. That's going to be a nano boost on the Theomatic as well. They're still trying to get this Winston into position to really bother that Widowmaker. It's just not happening.
They're going to have to keep trying, no matter. There's no choice. In goes Theomatic, and it feels like a pretty haphazard dive. Already they lost Avo and Donkin in the back line. Alpha, though, dishing it out. Big Bionade connection, and actually accounts for the entirety of Twisted Minds' backline on their own. Sad part is it's just not quite enough. No one's on cart right now. Yubi, for the most part, can avoid Theomatic. Not that he'd want to, as he has TVNT flanking him.
Yeah, they get a nano there on to TVNT, so he goes in with Yubi into the backline, and they're able to just kind of deal with a few players quickly as, you know, even with the kills traded from one-man army, I mean, you're in final fight territory pretty much for them. And you're going to have the rally here for Bliss to deal with Theomatic when he jumps in. As look at this angle from Quartz, right? I mean, that is just really difficult to find.
Quartz sees the Echo coming. Top Dragon has to keep going for these no matter what. Dupe of the Widow, as you do, doesn't really give him the lethality on Quartz. Yeah, meanwhile, Yubi's just mulching the rest of a one-man army. Top Dragon struggling here. Bliss goes down. Quartz still alive, by the way. Still living. TVNT eventually turns around and is like, I guess Quartz might need help at some point. And now can start to push Theomatic back. This might be a pretty short map. Twisted Minds have taken it up to 11 on this map.
Yes, it'll be a rally though from Donghun, so this will keep everybody here for a one-man army topped up as TVNT trying to get out. And he uses self-destruct here just to get a new mech back. So now you'll have Twisted Minds back at full strain. That's coming up, trying to get a hold.
Starting to close up here for Quartz, but have to go out to the bridge and is forced to peer in from the side doorways to find these shots. It's a little awkward, so essentially Quartz not having an impact on the game at all right now. However, Vigilante does. Hits Theomatic with a beautiful bio. Takes the Winston low. Nano Boost will, of course, give that 200 HP, but Theomatic gets instantly put to sleep. Vigilante is handling Winston like an absolute monster. Beautiful. Avo bounces right up into the shot from Quartz. Just too easy for this guy. Yet another one. It's going to be Top Dragon to fall. The one-man army get absolutely demolished.
Yeah, they should not pick maps that he can play Widowmaker, I think, for the rest of the series. Because I assume they're going to have another map selection here coming up as Twisted Minds puts together a great defense there, really built around Quartz's Widowmaker. As a one-man army doesn't even really get the... They don't really get the cart that far at all.
Yeah, not even to the first checkpoint. God, they threw everything at Quartz. There's an Echo dupe from Top Dragon, as he would have lost the duel simply as Echo. He's Widow all of a sudden. He's struggling to hit the shots. There's a Primal Rage in there, I'm sure of it. Theomatic jumps on in. Quartz still untouched.
I would say Twisted Minds also threw everything at Quartz, right? I mean, they had their defense matrix in place. He was getting every repair pack.
I mean, Bliss hit him with the get down, Mr. President, and got picked off. Yeah,
yeah, like, I mean, they don't have any more resources to give him. I mean, just gets absolutely everything.
But I would point out that while Theomatic and Top Dragon are trying to dive Quartz, quite a few of those engagements earlier on, TVNT and Vigilante just flattening the one-man army backline. You always see it up on the kill feed there. I mean, great success. And of course, Yubi is not really doubling back to help Quartz. He is getting that Pharah damage down. It's been really impactful on Dorado so far. So the D.Va defense works out beautifully. Now one-man army know what they need to do, but still don't feel like they can realistically opt into a Widow
Theomatic
duel.
on the phone looking for help.
Phone a friend.
Hello. Yes, Quartz on the
I'm
other
being
side.
bullied.
Let's go back to 6-on-6. You could tell that they don't obviously want to, match the Widow, right? Now playing the Ashe, where not as great in terms of those long sight lines, and just just feels a matter of time before Quartz is going to find one.
Good pressure here, but you see the follow-up. Twisted Minds always in on that peel.
It's not even really worried, right? Like,
At some point, though, Alpha has to take risks in order to heal Theomatic. They have to peek there. You see they are just from that left side of this pillar. Top Dragon already gone down here, though, so lacking pressure on the Widow to start with. That's going to open up space even more. With Theomatic down, the world is Quartz's oyster.
yeah, now you're going to give him an even better sight line here towards the end of the map as Duncan and Alpha trying to make it out with their lives. They absolutely need to cannot fall here to TVNT. That would pretty much just kind of secure Twisted Minds. The map is one-man army. You're going to have one more shot here just getting out of the spawn.
One last chance for a one-man army, but even that feels insincere. Dongan and Avoburki with the Vita Grenade. Vigilante has been controlling those chokes so effectively this whole time. And there's Quartz. Avo can't do too much. Outmatched, outranged, outpaced by Twisted Minds in general. That's all she wrote, folks. A very quick Dorado map here. And Twisted Minds were licking their lips when they saw a one-man army try to take them here.
Yeah, this is a map selection that does not pay off for a one-man army, as Quartz can just insta-lock the Widowmaker. You can kind of play that the entire game, and Avo and really just kind of the rest of a one-man army, no match to deal with him in the background.
It was, I would say, it's one of the most outsized impacts we've seen a Widowmaker sort of have on a game in the last couple of months, and you can really see what it does to a team when everything they try and throw at an individual player doesn't seem to work. But credit to the rest of Twisted Minds, because someone like Quartz cannot get away with this if they don't have strict protocols in place to protect the VIP. Very good peel back there from TVNT. You mentioned a lot of that defense matrix being used to protect him.
Dude, this shot is silly. He's like trying to get into the bubble as well, just like come down.
Yeah, for me, it's that shot. Like after getting primaled and like, rattled around for like 10 seconds, just turn around and whip one on probably one of the most important targets on the opposite side here. So look, this is really informed our discussion about Twisted Minds over the last couple of weeks. The player quality is kind of ridiculous. And that's why we're so surprised when they go into matches and they look so lackluster. They got 3-0'd by, that end squad. Really feel like Twisted Minds should be solidly amongst that top three, and at times feels like they're barely knocking on the door. These performances are great. It's these performances you want to see from Twisted Minds against the very best to really solidify them as a powerhouse in EMEA.
The highs are really highs, and like you're like, hey, they can get like top 2, like they can contend for the top, and the lows have the entire desk saying a one-man army is going to come in here and sweep. Like that's kind of like where you're at with this team. There's no middle ground, right? Like they're either this
they are
or they're what we saw kind of
extremely
against
Jova or sober arc. There is no, and you know what? It's crazy that I thought that Johnny's prediction was the most reasonable because it was dictated by a cookie. But obviously for Zoe and Jake, they generally felt like on an academic basis, like a one-man army would be the stronger team. Boy, knocked them for it because I get it. Twisted Minds looked so average yesterday, but a one-man army, maybe a little bit of a tier break between these two teams. They're just not quite able to reach the individual heights of someone like Quartz. I've got another map to try and put it together here between Hybrid, Flashpoint, and Push, but I don't know, man. Where do we take this team that likes to play the Winston dive, right? Knows they don't want to deal too much with that Widowmaker pressure in general.
You can play like Runasapi potentially. You can play Eichenwald, right? Winston's always pretty decent on Eichenwald, right? Where I think the Blizzard world, like D.Va, can really make an outsized impact, or even like Paraiso, right? So I think those are kind of some of the maps that you look at if you really want to kind of change the game up completely. You go like a New Junk City. So yeah, it'll be Eichenwald though. This is a good pick for Winston.
And again, it is the kind of map where you can make Widowmaker work on some points, but it's a little less likely. We've definitely seen some teams pick it and stick with it. And for Twisted Minds, if they're the kind of team that likes to ride high on a bit of that momentum and confidence, then perhaps they'll be looking two similar setups here. Farah also not unheard of at all on this kind of map. See it on sort of both attack and defense sides here. So it's quite possible that for these two teams, this falls into their wheelhouse relatively well. But looking at like the way Twisted Minds, you know, have been able to show us their quality of the last couple of maps here, I don't think there is a map that One Man Army can take them to, like when they're like this, that could really give them the edge.
Well, yeah, and now you kind of put yourself into a corner here if you're a one-man army, right? You win this here, you know, on Eichenwald Awesome, like they could take you to like a New Junk City and play some type of like rush, right? Or you can play, you know, Maga-based compositions, Ramatra, like different types of things like that, which we know Twisted Minds played to a high level. We've seen them already do that. So a one-man army puts themselves in a really difficult spot here going down.
Absolutely. We definitely need to see Avo on some level being able to have a comparable impact on the hit scan roll here. Looks really quite good, I think, on Lijiang Tower, especially on that first round until the bridge access got sort of limited.
It's not even really an Avo thing as well, because like there's not many hit scans that, you know, when Quartz is playing, you know, as well as we kind of see know him play at times, right? And especially in this series has played extremely well. Like there's not really many that can deal with this type of hit scan.
Yeah, without like mirroring it or diving it necessarily. It's hard to answer. So Twisted Minds here, the more expected composition. Obviously, this is a team that is going to bring out that Lucio Ana composition a little bit more than maybe what is normal. Bliss just definitely feels like they're pretty comfortable on that role. Yubi on the Tracer here, which is very customary for a one-man army. They're who I'm looking at here. How do you create an opportunity? Top Dragon, the only Widow they played this series is when they duped one on Dorado, and the results were inconclusive. So, take an early shot here with the Mercy damage boost, find nothing. Just waiting for Matt to call it.
I thought we were going to go for the double shot there with the pedal. That would have been some new tech, but
Taking flight.
Calm down.
some Lifeweaver tech in the building. But
so we've got the Brig Arctic here for one-man army again.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the Echo, right? I think this is trying to put a little bit of pressure here on TVNT. See that with that beam, just nukes him
That
down.
is massive. Again, no one's there to help a one-man army when the dive comes in. Yubi at least is able to drag Top Dragon down. Quartz is in a relatively safe position here. And one-man army actually aren't in striking distance of the point quite yet. Yubi's in a decent spot.
Well, I mean, you lose your Winston and your Echo. I don't really know what you do from here if you're a one-man army, right? They kind of control the choke. That's great, but I mean, that kill onto the Brig would be terrible as Dongman able to live. That's huge, and then they actually get Yubi. So Yubi was all in on trying to get that kill on the Brig, and they end up turning.
I get the idea, but Yubi really overstayed there. TVNT doubling back here for a bit of a top-up. Yubi now comes back off spawn and can triple blink down the street, be back here relatively soon, but the capture has begun. The Bionade from Alpha, quite punishing. Vigilante making sure TVNT can be a factor here. Maybe waiting on a sleep dart opportunity. Sees the bubble come down and maybe unaware of the Echo. Pressuring its Dongun though. Eats a pulse bomb from Yubi. Redeeming himself. Honey was returned to the fight. Finally getting the Brig he was looking for. And that is dirty from Bliss. That looked almost like a solo effort. Yes. Running Avo down there. And once again, a one-man army, you're going to be stuffed.
I mean, that's where you see the offensive firepower of like a Lucio, right? As Bliss gets right in Avo's face and takes him out as Twisted Minds, they battle back onto the point.
For a hero you never play, you bat-chested so hard about Lucio's damage buff on his primary fire.
Dude, yeah, I'm a big Lucio fan now, you know.
I don't think I've ever seen you play support. Like, I've played this game with you for so many years. I've never seen you play support.
Well, I'll select support, right? But I don't exactly like play,
Okay, so
I would say.
it's really a matter of definitions here, yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of observe the battlefield, occasionally decide to, you know, make a play. This very debatable if those plays are good or bad. I would say
Okay, sure.
Reasonable minds would differ. Got a primal here for Thematic at least. Nano up at the same time. This is the best chance a one-man army you're going to have on this attacking side. They must convert. Here with the Bionade instantly is Thematic, but he's able to drag Quartz down regardless. Elsewhere, TVNT gets a Nano of his own. Looking to harass a backline, and Theo's waiting on something. All right, has to be a remake here for TVNT. He's able to climb back in, no problem. Donkun now goes for the rally. TVNT thinking about the rest of his team here. He's almost given the point away entirely as Vigilante was forced off the point by the Winston bubble, but now that's expired. Thematic, though, unbeknownst to him, has a primal rage to work with. Quartz here, sidelines limited. Alpha still going to get brought down, so now in a longer fight. Twisted Minds might be advantaged, but they've lost their own Ana. Yubi can contest, can touch, but I think this is curtains for the TM defense.
Yeah, it should be, right? As Yubi gets one, this should be a one-man army being able to take the point, and they do so. So even with the sound barrier there for Twisted Minds, a one-man army just too strong. They have to kind of throw everything absolutely at it, right? But this is where Winston, I think, can be a little bit more effective in the Diva towards the second part of the map, being able to kind of control that high ground. I think that's where the Winston can definitely start to pay off here for a one-man army. Is that would be very important to get to that high ground, right? Dislodge like Quartz and Vigilante from this position.
I mean, for Quartz and Vigilante to heal TVNT or to damage the choke respectively, they do have to expose themselves quite extensively over that lip of the rampart. That Winston bubble, very troll. Forced them both back for a time, but TVNT was still able to stay out of the fight and not take too much damage, so no harm, no foul. Yubi, nicely done. That is a follow-up on a beautiful bio from Vigilante. Those have been brilliant from him this whole series.
Yubi's had a pretty good map as well, coming up with some big kills on the Tracers. You see a lot of the players here for a one-man army just trying to make a play for that high ground. Doing a great job protecting Quartz. Constantly you see when we were on with Quartz before, and you know, just watching for the third person, Theomatic goes up and he gets hit with like a coach gun. Then there's like a boop in the way. Then there's bios. I mean, making it very difficult for the Winston to get up there, and it's super important. And they lose Top Dragon here before they even can really gonna get things kicked off for this next fight.
Top Dragon struggling, only just really switching over to the Tracer for the last couple of fights.
Really quiet series, yes. I would say.
Yeah, we got talked up a lot, I think, in the pre-show, which is fair because I think that his showings recently have been great, but Yubi's been good. It's also been Vigilante, just not letting that Ana do anything. Coach Gun here, I think, for Quartz in the shield, so no knockback. Theomatic, though, sees them nanoed Ana, rather, the Ashe, decides, yeah, I'm going to commit to this. Primal here, managed to find Vigilante, but gets woken up after the sleep came in. Still buys a bit of space, though, for Twisted Minds, and they've used it. Yubi, another kill. Solo, well, not solo entirely, but able to deal with Top Dragon. We're doing a lot of work to control the attacking Tracer's flank routes on this stage of Eichenwalde.
It's just so funny to watch where Quartz ends up getting the benefits of the nano. They then try and primal to get him out. The primal gets slapped. He drops down. They sound barrier. It's like a bomb in the way. Anything to keep up the Ashe of Twisted Minds. As now for a one-man army, they will have Donghun's rally here. So if they can get everybody back on the same page, right? They just keep kind of losing a player every time they start to move through the gates. Could force a fight on the card. Make that rally impactful.
TVNT's been a problem for a one-man army. Able to play between those different levels of high grounds, right by where the card is. Top Dragon here, got a mission. Survived Yubi's onslaught. Pulse there for Yubi, doesn't connect on Donghun. He just shields back, sits in the corner, has to pop a rally now as TVNT charges in, gives up his mech, but will refresh it with that self-destruct. Notice that ability is never used for the explosion at this level. My ranked teammates, take note. Could be a bio here onto Avo and Alpha respectively. What a stick from Top Dragon though, and he might have opened things up finally. Bliss falls there. Pulse Bomb finds its mark, and it was nowhere for Vigilante to go. Finally, a one-man army with a head of steam headed up the incline.
No, I mean, you barely even saw Bliss there when the Pulse Bomb comes through from Top Dragon, so that's going to give one-man army an opportunity here to take this second checkpoint. It'll be Twisted Minds, so they'll be able to come out of this area with their own nano boost. It's just who does it go to as TVNT gets hit with a bio coming on out.
Lost their sleep here and forced out. Quickly knows his days are numbered, so he throws a nano to 30.
Oh, no! What? So it looks like, okay, so you don't have the full picture there, right?
The full picture.
It looks like both tanks get nanoed for either team. TVNT goes in, deals with the Ana, and then maybe Donghun was trying to help the Ana and didn't actually make it back to the cart, and Theomatic had dove in. Yeah, so let's take a look at this here.
Okay, this better not be Youngjin level.
So we don't see. So this is going to be the nanos from both sides. And
he's done it. He's just walked off.
Yo, I tried to cover for you, Donghun. I tried. I thought we didn't see it, and I was like, maybe this happened, you know. Nah, that was just a Youngjin right there.
I would say it's slightly better than Youngjin level because he's trying to peel for Alpha, who's getting absolutely pounded on that high ground, but like, it's ropey. That is
Youngjin just didn't want to play anymore and just walked off. He's like,
there was literally no stimulus for Youngjin to leave the car.
yeah, he was like, this guy, I think I'm just all right with this. You know, this seems like a good amount of push. Let's just walk off.
That was a fever dream. I just can't believe that happened. Still, it's definitely one of the worst Charles IXs that we've seen.
Well, on Dorado, I thought when you were talking about, you know, Quartz's strong Widowmaker performance, I thought you were going to compare it to, you know, Dia Dragon's level.
Why would I dare? I mean, hey, listen, that guy did a lot done considering Shusha was his main tank, you know what I'm saying? we digress.
Yeah, if only they would have played MG, what was this, MG 42 or something like that.
MG, yeah.
If only.
Bring back 5 King. Justice for my King.
Yeah,
I've never called myself
one of the biggest what ifs.
Oh yeah, things I my intrusive thoughts when I try and sleep. All right, so Quartz having a crack at this little grapple up. Oh, it's a poison mine value, okay. Yeah, Theomatic's position revealed to him. Not that it was really a secret. Over towards the Ash now. I'm losing it. The Shanghai Dragons references got me wilded. Theo!
Got you, boom. Theomatic. I mean, that's a lot of damage here at the choke. Sleep also from Vigilante and the top dragon, not able to kind of, you know, collapse onto that and, you know, have anything come out of it. But it allows Twisted Minds to get through the choke.
Dynamite upstairs here. Bounces off his teammate by the looks of things and can't be blown up manually. Still eventually gets some value. TVNT burning down from it right now. Slow but sure here for Twisted Minds. They take that first bit of damage on Theomatic. They turn it into control of the computer shop and then a fire grenade on the Winston. Yep, that's going to do it. Man, Vigilante, such a sick player. This series, he has been all over it. In fact, it would be a standout if it weren't for Quartz being on his team and Yuvi also turning around and having a great Tracer game here in Eichenwalde. Well, folks, just got to go up the hill a little bit further. Twisted Minds here now, get that first checkpoint. Looking to make their way up the incline, and again, it's one-man army in absolute shambles. Getting staggered out here. Theo not allowed to survive. TVNT is just checking his traction control. That Porsche skin. Really got to make sure that everything is hunky-dory there. I respect it.
Seems like it's working fine.
Yeah.
It's, TM pushes up pretty far. You can actually like self-destruct body block here. It'll actually be a pulse bomb, connects onto Theomatic's face as he walks out. His top dragon actually ends up using a dupe on the other side. I think just to keep himself alive, and then also know they actually just get a contest. They can't allow this cart to keep moving forward.
I'm thinking it might just been so we could try the Porsche skin, Matt. I'm going to be honest with you. There wasn't a whole lot the top dragon could do there.
Yeah, he missed
exactly.
So he wants to get a...
They're limited to skins, bro. Like, you ain't getting that back. 4 minutes and 8.
A literal test drive.
If you have to ask Top Dragon, you can't afford it. 4 minutes here.
A nano was ended up used there from Twisted Minds, so one-man army will have the nano here for Theomatic, but it's a large space to cross and also use some of these ultimates. You're going to be screwed for this next fight after, so nice dynamite there from Quartz. Going to get a lot of value right away. They will get a touch.
Yeah, Bob almost stops the contest entirely now. It's going to be Theomatic with the layering of a nano and a primal rage here, and rallies in play for Donghun. All of a one-man army's resources being used just to keep them in the game, and TVNT is able to wreck Donghun there, charge him down with those micro rockets. Alpha removed, self-destruct here now. Theomatic can't do much but sort of contest on the cart, and that's it. A one-man army get absolutely rolled and smoked. There's no other way of putting it. That is a brutal stuff. Holy!
Yeah, that was a
they
tough
look
one.
like pretzels out there right now, you know what I'm saying? Just bend those boys into sheesh. Okay. Well,
it's, you know, a one-man army, they've had some good games throughout, you know, EMEA, but that was, I wouldn't categorize that as one of them, as that was just all Twisted Minds. There are only two ways it was going to go, right? At least for me, it felt like that Twisted Minds was going to continue a little bit of a boomage from yesterday, or they were going to come here today and you know, put together a more Twisted Minds-like performance, and that was definitely
it's amazing what a good night's rest with your favorite soft toy can do for you. You know what I'm saying? Twisted Minds made sure story time was attended to. They had their milk and they were ready to game the next day. I love to see that. That's called living large. That might be the real Sigma grind set, folks. Get me off camera. Get me off camera, video. I'm losing my mind. Very quick match, though, here. Twisted Minds showing us the other end of the spectrum, the one that gives us some confidence in what this roster can do.
Where was this Twisted Mind yesterday when I predded him? and was all wrong. Where are they? So I obviously took the approach of the spurned lover and prayed it against them. Johnny had the cookie gods decide for him. Jake, I'm not entirely sure what your excuse was.
I honestly just thought AOMA had some solid matches throughout the stage. I think Ana Briga is actually strong. But I think, honestly, Yubi bringing out the Pharah was really smart on control. And in the end, this was a very large hit scan gap. I mean, Quartz ran through them. Across the board, I think they played with a lot more confidence today. Vigilante was making tons and tons of plays on the Ana. And the team just looked really clean and well drilled. Like, they weren't perma-aggressive, right? They had the opportunities to fall back, drain the ultimates from a one-man army, and just this is an immaculate performance from Twisted Minds. Their play speaks for itself.
I'm happy Quartz is popping off like this, though, because I think especially like end of last year, Saudi E-League, after the Overwatch League finals and going into this year, we were talking about Quartz as like a top 3 hit scan in the world, like one of the best hit scan players out there. But it did feel like Quartz was a little bit quiet, and maybe Yubi took a bit of a front seat, especially stage 1, stage 2, when they played those Mauga, Ramada compositions, right? Yubi held his own with Kevster, for example. But I feel like Quartz has really popped off this stage in like the last couple of months here, and it's really showing us what Quartz can do. So yeah, huge gap. I'm gonna say a team gap.
Yeah.
This wasn't even close. So Mitch was about right. He described it accurately. Really impressive showing by Twisted Minds. And again, I think they're hungry to go up against some of these top teams right in the region.
Yeah, definitely. Want to punch their ticket to get a rematch maybe against ENCE, stay
SSG
alive in the lower
next,
bracket.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, Twisted Minds look threatening. Honestly, I'm a little bit worried for SSG. If Quartz is in form like this, I mean, the thing is, Quartz also had actually a great series against ENCE. Even though they got owned 3-0 against ENCE, Quartz was still popping. Like on circuit, I'd say Quartz was the better Widow over Kai, even in a losing match, which was hard to do. And so I think you're right, Johnny. Like if Quartz keeps playing like this is a super scary performance. Player of the match. I mean, kind of easily player of the match. Like as good as other people were, this was the Quartz show. He just kept getting opening kills on the Brig, on the enemy hit scan, like just really high value picks over and over and over again. The hit scans right now are just on another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very impressive, but not surprising. I mean, heading into this stage, heading into all of OWCS, we knew what to expect from a player like Quartz. He's so explosive. He's an absolute game changer. He can turn things around. He's turning fights around. Unwinnable situations in the past were turned around by the likes of Quartz. So, no big surprise. Did we want to see a little bit more from a one-man army here? Absolutely, just based on their recent performances. There was a lot of faith obviously put in them. They showed us different looks. They showed us versatility. So it's sad to see them go, as this was their last match, of course, here at the main event. But very exciting, of course, for us to now see Twisted Minds advancing and the next opponent being SSG. How do they stack up if we're just looking at compositions there?
I mean, I think that's going to be a really interesting match to watch because SSG have been very amorphous so far this stage, right? Showing us lots of different styles. But, I mean, we know the rush is solid for them, but none of their other looks, nothing has really convinced me. It's like, oh, this is the comp for SSG this stage. I think they're still kind of workshopping things. Whereas Twisted Minds today, very stable, very consistent. But the highs and the lows, it's hard to reconcile their performance against ENCE yesterday and their performance here today. So it's going to be tough to tell. I think that series against Space Station is going to be a bellwether.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that everyone from SSG is having their eyes glued to the monitor, trying to take some notes on what transpired against ENCE, as well as, of course, just now to see where their strengths and maybe also their weaknesses lie. Maybe you can help them doing their homework here a little bit, Johnny, as you do have a telestration about some of the Twisted Minds performance.
Yeah, they first point held here, AOMA on Dorado, and I just wanted to showcase how they set up this defense and how they actually managed to get it done. So it's a really nice defense here on Dorado, and they're actually going to split their team into 2 nice groups here. We're going to have the front line, of course. That's the wrong way of the pen. But we're going to have TVNT and UB be classified as kind of like the front line for this team. They're going to hold the cart. And meanwhile, we're going to have Bliss and Vigilante with Quartz over, of course, on the Widow. They're going to represent the back line. That is Northern Arrow. And then we're going to see this dive come in from the side of AOMA. Of course, you're playing Winston, you're playing Echo. So you want to get deep. You want to get on top of Quartz to free up some room for Avo to get more space and then have a good sight angle. So we can go to roll this one out. And I kind of just want to show how AOMA is setting up this dive in the first place. We'll move the camera along into the back and we can pause here around here kind of somewhat. So this is a pretty default setup here if you are attackers. You can't really see it, but Top Dragon, he's gonna come in on the flank and go over here, this side as well. We have Theomatic here on the Winston. He's going to dive deep from this position as well. And sometimes if you're playing like Pharah Tracer, Echo Tracer, you'll have the Tracer take this matchup in the house as well, so you get an additional flank angle there. So a pretty default, those are the ugliest arrows I've ever seen, but a pretty default attack here from AOMA. Now, you can already see that the backline is kind of set up here, because Quartz, of course, knows this dive is coming, and what they're going to do is they're going to peel behind this wall. This means that Top Dragon and Theomatic, when that dive comes in, they'll be super committed. There will be a wall between them and their supports, and it's going to buy more time for Quartz. Now, the front line, of course, we got UB and TVNT here. They're going to hold down the fort, and they're going to do a great job trading the backline here of AOMA, recognizing that Theomatic and Top Dragon, they're of course not there. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one out. We can see that UB has the barrage here, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful setup here. As the dive comes in, you can see that UB is going to go barrage, defense matrix right there. And as we swap over to Evo's POV here, we can go ahead and play this one out. You'll actually see that the matrix in the way. You can't land this shot. You're aware of Quartz, but also you can't land that shot. Then UB comes in, and UB is going to secure, trade the backline, gets a 2K here, recognizing that the dive is coming through. Meanwhile, you can see here the backline, they are ready for this. We got Vigilante, I want you in this little box here, buddy. You can see this trio right here. Bliss has a rally that's going to come up as well. Top Dragon forced here under pressure to duplicate the Widow because he's just not able to stay alive on this Echo. But I mean, you got 26 seconds on the timer. Like, you have to use the duplicate. This is the dive, right? So beautiful. Peel can play this one out, and you'll see that AOMA, they're not able to get anything here. Theomatic actually gets a frag here towards the end of this fight. Rally comes out, and you can see like they're so ready to just peel this one out. You can see you can keep playing this clip, and you can see that they stay alive beautifully here. Primal comes in from Theomatic again, last fight, gets a pick onto Bliss, but here comes TVNT, like they're done. They traded the backline, and now they're here to help. And so it's a beautiful hold here by Twisted Minds, really. They know that the dive is coming, and they do a great job of trading the backline and peeling as well, and they end up full holding Dorado here. So a great showing from Twisted Minds, really, on the Dorado defense.
Yeah, and SSG will have to go up against them in just a few hours from now. First, of course, we're shifting gears and heading onto the upper bracket, so they do have some time to get ready for it. Now, before we're heading into all the action of our next match, we do in fact have a winners interview ready as well. It's going to be audio only. I was about to just turn to the big screen. No, but Quartz should be joining us now for an audio interview. Quartz, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. Congratulations on the dub. How do you feel right now? It's been an up and down journey for you in OWCS so far. Where do you see your team right now? How confident are you?
First of all, thank you so much. And I feel fine, to be honest. I think we can win today too. Hopefully, we'll get back up.
You know, Quartz, today was a massive performance. I felt like you also performed well against ENCE yesterday in the individual hit scan duels. How do you see this meta in terms of, you're playing a lot of different hit scan? I think a lot of fans got to know you for your Sojourn play, but now it's maybe more of the Ashe and the Widow. How's your comfort level on like these meta heroes? I mean, you've looked fantastic, but do you think that's your best, or do you still prefer where I think first came to love you as a player on Sojourn?
I think I prefer all hit scans. Like, I'm comfortable in all of them, but this meta specifically is not the best for hit scans, so it's a bit hard to perform as I used to. But I think I can still do fine. I can still do good.
How do you think you match up or stack up against the other teams in the region? You'll be facing off against SSG in the next round here in the lower bracket. How do you feel that Twisted Minds fare up against the likes of SSG and Virtus Pro, of course?
I think it's definitely going to be hard, but I'm hopeful that we can win.
You sound very, very positive. I do love that. One last question before I let you go. After the match yesterday against N, I mean, there was a 3-0 loss that you guys suffered. What was your key takeaway as a team from that match?
I think we were doing a lot of mistakes, to be honest. But I think if we fix them, maybe we can win. Like, I think our chances go up 70-80% if we fix our mistakes, because we weren't playing as a team yesterday. I don't know, like so many mistakes, but hopefully we fix today and we'll perform better.
Well, you look like a different team today. It was a dominant showing, a dominant performance, so best of luck in your next match.
Thank you so much.